Good morning, I'm Richard. Welcome to Burning Spears, and in this video I'm going to be cooking one of my favorite and most nostalgic breakfasts. So, growing up in a single parent household, my mother worked hard and sacrificed most of her working career to bring me up into this amazing being that I am today. And because there often wasn't a lot of money going around, breakfasts on weekends were like a Sunday roast. So if we had some bacon, we would do this. We'd do it without bacon as well. And I just thought I'd get this down on video to show you, because I haven't really seen it anywhere. I haven't seen it in restaurants. I've never been to anyone's house where they've made something like this. Let's get into the ingredients and I'll talk about the process a bit more. Stick around. It's a great breakfast idea and hopefully something that you haven't seen before and want to try. So it's early in the morning and there's rugby on. So I thought I'd better line the stomach before that starts. So basically what I'm going to be cooking here is a sort of like almost a tomato and onion relish with bacon in it. Serve that on toast as the one type, and then add eggs to some of that batch to show you the other type. So essentially there's going to be that standalone by itself, and then of course all the ingredients together. Now the bacon, you can omit. I've got about 10 rashers of bacon here, of streaky bacon. So you can omit this, and then it becomes a vegetarian affair. And like I say, this is very nostalgic. So I do love onions and tomatoes fried up. I like tomatoes on toast, grilled tomatoes on toast, or fresh with salt and pepper on, because of my childhood. That was readily available. So I'm just going to cut this all up. Generally aim for about half the amount of onion to tomato. And that's all. This is all by eye. I've never really weighed this off or anything like that. So perhaps every time it's slightly different. Now today I've got these, they call them classic round tomatoes here in the UK. Salad tomatoes in some other places. I didn't get higher quality tomatoes because this is sort of what was available. So you've got to work a little bit hard with these. And then sometimes they're a bit dry, you have to add a bit of water, so there'll be maybe a couple of tips and pivots going forward. So I'm just going to chop them up and then we get started. So those of you who've watched a few of my videos know that I generally cook with black gloves on. Now I actually receive a surprising amount of comments on people who disagree with my use of black gloves. So gents, predominantly men, this video is dedicated to you, as I am going glove free. This will be one of the only videos dedicated to you, so enjoy it, please like it, and if we could move on, that would be lovely. So right, I've got everything chopped up. What I'll do is reposition the camera and get stuck into the cooking processes. Just a quick caveat on tomatoes. So some are dry, some have got a lot of moisture in. So you might need, like I say, to add a bit of water. Also the flavor, like these tomatoes probably won't be that flavorful. So what I'll do is I might bring back some acidity to a flavorless tomato with a bit of vinegar, like white vinegar or red wine vinegar. So I'll see that on tasting. Right, so when the onions are just going translucent, I'm going to add the bacon. Again, I'm just going to mention that the bacon is optional. And this isn't caramelized onion crispy bacon affair. Okay, so you want to bring all the water out of the tomatoes. That's one of the critical steps, otherwise you're going to have a soggy mess. So that would dictate whether I add water or not. So you've got to get this going and breaking down quite a lot more. And it can take a high heat. And you saw me put salt and pepper in, which the salt will start leaching some of the water out as well, some of the liquid. So we want to get that all out, get it drier, and have the tomatoes soft enough so they start breaking apart. As you can see, they're still a bit hard. And then that'll almost be time to serve the first version. So you'll notice a change in the smell during the cook when it gets this real delicious aroma, which lets you know that you're almost there. You can see some of the tomatoes are breaking up. I'm looking closely at the amount of liquid because, like I say, you want some sauce, but you don't want it to be watery. So currently I'm not going to add water in. The tomatoes are breaking down just fine, but I might have to add a little touch later. We'll see. So the tomatoes have released all of their, or most of their moisture now. So it's a case of just reducing that down nicely, intensifying those flavors. And I'm going to start testing for seasoning soon. Of course, tomatoes, they love salt, they love pepper as well. I have a very overspiced palate, so I use a lot of both, but salt is essential in this dish. Right, I'm happy with this now. It's still a bit loose, still a bit juicy, and that is how the first one is going to get served up, but more on that in a second. Right, so I'm going to taste for seasoning. Because there's so few ingredients, you've got to get the balance spot on. So let's give it a little stir, and of course with tomato it's going to be coming in at the temperature of lava on a good day, so I'm just going to watch that. Very good. So I watched the amount of salt that I added because of the bacon, knowing that of course bacon adds salt, adds seasoning, which makes it such a wonderful thing. But for me, it needs a touch more. For probably a normal human being, that's fine as it was. Gonna put some more black pepper in. Probably didn't need again. Now it's got a little bit of sweetness from the tomatoes. Because they're fresh, they don't have that funny acid taste, so that's not present. However, for a bit more nostalgia linked to my childhood, probably put maybe 1 and a bit of teaspoons of vinegar in, just to lift it a little bit subtly. But smokiness in the bacon is there. Now of course you could put chili in here, which I would normally do, but like I say, I'm going on my childhood here. So chili, garlic, herbs, thyme, rosemary, you know, that sort of thing. Paprika, any of that if you want to, but I'm focusing on the simple today, like myself. Perfect. That vinegar and that extra salt has now elevated that for me. So that is ready to serve. So I'm just going to serve that on a bit of toast. Okay, so that's the first breakfast that I wanted to show you. My apologies for drinking coffee during one of the videos. I know it's very unlike me, but it has just gone 7 in the morning. Right, so identical process to get to the stage where we're going to add egg now for a different breakfast or a different version of this breakfast. So I've got some real great high quality eggs, amazing colored yolks. They're going to go just well. So the only sort of thing to add is you want it probably a little bit drier than what I served that you saw previously, because there you want sauce. Here you don't want, let's call it egg water. I'll talk about that in a bit. So I'm going to reheat this. I used about a quarter of that for that one big slice of toast. So you could serve 4 easy from that. Eggs bulk it up, so I'm probably going to be able to serve 4 easily from this, even though I've removed a quarter, if that makes sense. I know it's early, but I'm trying, I'm trying. Okay, as I said, I want this a little bit drier, so it's come down quite a little bit. I just cooked it for another 5 minutes from where I served the last batch. The reason I've done this is because when you add your eggs and you finish cooking and you let it sit, sometimes there's a bit of like really loose liquid that I call egg water that you don't want to serve with, because it'll just make your toast soggy, and no one likes soggy toast. So this isn't on a high heat, it's on a medium heat. I need to bat the eggs out of the park, just let them do their thing. Right, when it's dried out enough and you can start seeing where the bubbles are, there's oil. That's pretty much when you know it's ready, when most of that liquid has come out. It can take a bit of time to get that liquid out, but by the nature, the eggs in all that liquid don't really overcook noticeably anyway, in my opinion. So that looks good. That's dry now. Like I say, it will weep out a little bit of egg water, but that's ready to serve. You can see there's a nice dryness to it. So that's a great version of scrambled eggs as far as I'm concerned. Because I checked for seasoning on the tomato mix, all I'm going to do is serve it with a little bit of salt and pepper on top, because the eggs will have diluted that somewhat. But there we go. Okay, so very simple and very nice. I think probably on payday my mother might have thrown grated cheese on top of that as well. So yes, so I think she called these both breakfast a la Spears, but I'm going to call them breakfast a la Libby, and this video is dedicated to you, Libs. Thank you for everything you've done for me, and I hope I did this justice. And let's tuck in and find out. And I hope my hangover is not that evident on camera today. It was a long and painful cricket match. Right, the eggy one. I can't really describe. So this, by its nature, with the oil, onions and tomatoes and the balance and all that, by nature takes on a real flavorful body. It becomes really flavorful. So it's great like that as a standalone. It really is. The eggs do something different that I don't think I've had anywhere else. Maybe I need to try eat more Spanish omelets or something like that, but the egg takes that to a different place because it sits in all the flavor and it takes on the oil and all that sort of thing. Gives it an amazing, amazing taste that I can't really describe. So I'd love you to try this and check it out. See what you think. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. So there we have it. Cheers. This should sort me out for the rugby. Hopefully we win today. Thank you for watching. Please like and please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And hope to see you soon. Thank you, and that's it.